Hey guys, so we finally got some information on the free gear removal that usually comes with Curse City. We're getting pretty close to the end of Curse City. I thought it was supposed to come at the halfway point, but they're just now sending it. I guess they got busy, got caught up with a few things, and couldn't turn on the Make Our Lives Easier button, which is no silver cost for swapping artifacts. Now, with that said, Faction Wars Hard Mode, honestly, should have been like a month of free gear removal or something, because the gear swapping has destroyed mine and so many other players' silver. Hopefully with the upcoming hour of free gear removal stuff we're going to get from the daily advanced quests, hopefully that fixes things. But this Wednesday, June 25th, we're getting a free gear removal event, reducing the silver cost to remove or swap artifacts and accessories by 100%. So this is going to be Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I guess. So a few days of that. To see which boosts are currently in effect, check the labels. Cool stuff. 96 hours, so 4 days. With that said, we also have two interesting buffs going on. Though, I say that, they also don't buff champions very often at all. We have Diamant, Coppercoin, and Androc the Glorious. So Diamant is, I feel like, very small buff, but his charitable donation skill, which, let's check out which skill that even is. Ogren Tribe, Diamant, Coppercoin, charitable donation. So it's A2, 3-turn cooldown, kind of long. But now it's going to also do the AoE attack, increase duration of all ally buffs, and fill turn meter of all allies by 20%. So decent, but it's a void legendary. I don't really care about this, to be honest. If I had him, I wouldn't be necessarily excited. This is kind of cool. Actually, not even that cool, honestly. Still not that exciting of a champion. His passive is now, instead of converting buffs or debuffs onto him, it's going to be a 50% chance to convert a debuff into a buff before it is placed on an ally. Works with the following debuffs. Converts decrease attack to increase attack, decrease defense to increase defense, decrease speed to increase speed, decrease crit rate to increase crit rate, decrease crit damage to increase crit damage. So that's kind of cool. If you had him for the Ogren Tribe condition room, where you have to place 7 debuffs or 7 buffs and then kill an enemy, that could maybe be neat. But this ability is passive, doesn't have any books, so a 50% chance really isn't something you can rely on. I'm gonna be honest, I don't have this champion, and I don't want this champion. I didn't have him before, I definitely don't want him now. I feel like this change is next to nothing. It doesn't seem that significant at all. A duration increase by 1 is cool, yeah, it's neat, but it's not really that good. And then now he boosts everybody's turn meter by 20%. He's a void legendary champion. I would rather have any of the other void legendary champions by a mile over Diamant. So you guys let me know what you think about that one. I'm not too excited about that, to be honest. Androc's changes are a bit better though. However, they're very blurry. So with damage multiplier increase, why is this so garbage looking? What in the world? It looked much better than this on the Discord. Let me see if I could maybe open link. Yeah, it's just still blurry there. I'm not sure what the deal is with that. Either way, just listen to my voice. So his A1 is going to have its damage multiplier increased, which this could be great or it could be useless. To be fair, I never really considered Androc as a nuker to begin with, but if he can bring a potential damage threat, that could be awesome. He's used in Chimera. I would use him more if he's even better. But this is what it is. We really don't know how good it's going to be. His A2 is now also going to fill the turn meter of all allies by 15%. This is cool. So basically, his main thing in Chimera is going to be boosting turn meter whenever you get critical hits. So like running him in a team with Ninja plus Mikage, you have ally attacks, a lot of crits, a lot of turn meter boost. I could fit him in my teams. Maybe upcoming, I can fit him in there a little bit better. But critical hits inflicted by allies fills the turn meter of all allies by 5%, which is very strong. A lot of turns versus Chimera, it's just kind of difficult to get him to fit in sometimes, depending on your team. Now, with these changes, maybe it's a little bit easier, because we're getting a turn meter boost on his A2, working with his kit where it's already boosting turn meter, which is very nice. But we're also going to be getting increases each ally's resistance by 10 for each buff on all allies, which is actually massive. So basically, if you have 7 buffs on all your allies, you have what, 35 buffs? So 350 resistance boost? Is that the case? If that's the case, this becomes super strong. This becomes a very good PvE champion, specifically in Chimera or areas where you want to resist the enemy, but you can't really build with a ton of resistance. That's actually amazing because he is pretty easy to keep buffs applied. He extends the duration of debuffs, right? Places strengthen, places additional continuous heal. But if we look at his kit in game, one of his abilities does extend buff duration, right? So this ability right here is a heal plus extends the duration of ally buffs. So now we're also going to have this passive that's going to be increasing the resistance of all allies for each buff, which is going to be massive actually. That's really cool. So Androc becoming significantly better, I'd say, in the first form, with the damage multiplier possibly being cool. So I may actually get him into some content. May have to try him out in some Chimera stuff. Though, to be fair, he's probably worth giving a shot anyways. I just don't have the amazing A1 damage dealers like, you know, Toshiro. Those that champion, that single champion. Toshiro would be amazing. Though with the current Chimera rotation, what do we have going on here? We have this. So Harima is not great. I'm somewhat curious how Iyasu would do. I don't have amazing options here. Jintoro, I've used him for this, but we'll see. As far as like pairing with Mikage, they do better like that. Now with this, his second form now is also going to have the damage multiplier increased. Like I said, never really damage was something that crossed my mind with him, but it could be neat. His A2 is now also going to decrease the turn meter of all enemies by 15%. It was already doing some turn meter. No, he already does decrease some turn meter, so that's cool. His first form now is going to be more turn meter increase. His second form is going to be more turn meter decrease, and is also going to have its damage multiplier increased as well. So this third one is interesting, though. I don't like the way this is worded. His A3, though, is removes all buffs from all enemies, then attacks all enemies if the target is a boss. The damage inflicted is equal to 10% of their max HP. Okay, that's fine. Damage multiplier changed. Makes me think, wait, are they going to lower it? No, it's now scaling on max HP. So even better versus bosses. However, his passive isn't so strong on most bosses. So his passive is increases each ally's accuracy by 10 for each buff on all enemies, which is kind of weird to begin with. And then each critical hit inflicted by allies decreases the turn meters of all enemies by 5%. If there are multiple champions on the team, only one will activate. So basically, that isn't a big change. I mean, you can't really use that very easily on most content because bosses' turn meters typically can't be reduced. So this isn't great. The speed going from 110 to 115, I think Androc got a pretty significant change, specifically in the first form. The second form, for me, is typically something I would just swap to get a few things off and then bring him back into his first form. But having those changes on him could make him, actually definitely will make him, viable in a lot of players' teams. So this turn meter boosting, I may have to get some more champions and try them out now. I may actually have to try them out in Chimera anyways, because his changes are going to be just better. They're just going to flat out be better. But all right, guys, that's the changes and updates that are coming to the game. I think Androc's changes are great. I think Diamant's changes are garbage. I think he's still going to be trash. So useless there. Androc changes are good. And Plarium, I really think you should make more buffs quicker because we have so many champions that need some love. The Gallius change was great, but my 6-star blessing Fjorad, he wants some changes. There's other mythicals. Aphidus is not too bad now. People don't love Aphidus, but he is pretty solid. What's the other mythical that needs some changes? I forget. So Fjorad definitely does. Toshiro doesn't need any changes. Nell doesn't need any changes. She's a monster. Tears up the arena, especially with the new Arachne Elixir stuff. Aphidus maybe the next worst. Calamitous already got a buff. Those are two new. Ashnar got a buff. So they're working through the buffs. Mythical champions are probably good. Honestly, most players don't have mythicals anyways. Getting them all to be a bit... Getting the bad ones like Fjorad and Androc. Androc's not necessarily bad, but not nearly as used. But getting those two taken care of is great. I really think more legendary champions need to be buffed quicker because there are so many like Diamant who just aren't that good. And when you release a buff that is still not very good, it just doesn't get players excited. This is a void champion. Not many players are going to have him to begin with, but he's also just pretty bad, honestly, and still going to be quite bad. But either way, guys, that is the update for the gear removal as well as the champion buffs. hopefully you guys have these champions and they're going to get buffed for you. Actually, I still feel bad if you have Diamant. Either way, thank y'all for watching. I appreciate it, and I will catch you all in the next one.